Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue exploring Chinese expressions that using its ancient characters, thousands of years in the making, and apply it to contemporary life. And in March, I focus on technologies. Okay, so let's check out. Today, we are going to talk about 电子邮件。电子邮件 is, I remember when I first have encountered email in China was during around 2000 years old. I mean, at that time, I signed up for Google with my official Chinese name when nobody ever used that. So it's my full name and that I took of Google's in Google's early age. So 电子邮件 has been around for over 20 years, right? And popular, like the common people start to use it in 20 years. And the 电子邮件 has been from the very beginning, we call it the 电子邮件. And, eventually we just call it the 电邮. That's like, it's been in our life long enough. It deserves some sort of abbreviation now. Okay, so 电子 talks about electronic, right? Electronic email, that's email, right? Electronic mail. And I translate as electrical particles of this 电子. So electronic in English, we use 电子, all the devices, 电子产品, we use two characters to describe electronic. So Chinese, it's interesting because electricity was the invention around the turn of century, right? Last 20th century. And that was the invention later on. And 电, as you can see, we have an ancient form of 电, which actually is lightning in the sky. So this upper part of the character means raining. So raining, Chinese express it by horizontal line is the sky. And vertical line means something connected to the ground. And this big arch means the space beneath the sky. And this raindrops, 4 of them, that means a lot of raindrops. So that's a vivid depiction of the phenomenon of raining. And lightning normally goes together with raining, right? So that's why we have this raining as a background, as a context. When you see, and this is an interesting thing, now these are 3-finger hand symbols come from above. So if we look at the Chinese characters as a 2D frame, imagine you almost like you look at Chinese character from a computer screen point of view. Normally, we describe hand gestures with 3-finger hand reaching from the bottom of the screen. And that's a first-person point of view, right? Reaching from the bottom, left and right, symbolizing your left and right hands if you're expressing two-handed, respectively handling something with 2 hands. But now it's a 3-finger hand symbol of reaching top down, kind of in this direction. That means somebody else. That's not your hand. It's others' hand, but whose hand that is. And in this sign, we have almost like a sine wave, but the other way. So sine wave looks like this, right? And this is this way. So that's sine wave. To describe it's an irregular shape. It's a phenomenon happened during the raining time, and it's handling between left and right hand of somebody's hand. And according to scholars, the readings later on of this symbol, it means this hand of yin and yang. So it's nature's hand. Or if we want to use it in the lingo of Christianity, that's God's hand, right? Somebody's superpower beyond the human control this environment for us. And it's between the gods. I mean, who throw the lightning bolts? It's God, right? Or Zeus, or in Greek mythology, this godly figure is the one who is floating around. And similarly, Chinese capture this character, that this handling between the two hands of some superpower beyond human hands, of this lightning thing that's irregular shape in a reversed S-curve shape. So then you may think, does it mean the Chinese ancestors actually realized lightning in the sky is a form of electricity? I mean, isn't that the famed story of Benjamin Franklin discovered the connection between lightning and electricity? Not necessarily. It could be something that existing in Chinese culture that means purely lightning in the sky. And when such a story happened, the people in the East heard about this. Lightning is actually an electricity thing. And when electricity did come into China, imported technology, then people pair them together. Okay, let's use just lightning character to describe electricity. That's I think, more viable version of the story, how historically things going. It doesn't mean the ancestors who invent this character realize it's electricity. All right, and 子, I translate as particles, but actually from the origin, it means human babies. This big-headed, one torso, arms raised, pick me up position, human baby. Legs was de-emphasized here because baby early days, the leg functions were invisible. So this is a human baby picture. And eventually we use that to attach to the end of a lot of things. And basically it's something that you can count, you can see. It may not be big, it's small. So I translate as particles. When it pairs with 电子, it means this, single atoms of electricity. So that's paired together to describe electronic. I mean, Chinese probably use electricity, use 电子 more to describe electronic instead of electrical. I mean, I don't exactly know what's the difference. I guess electronic means powered by electricity. Electrical means it's the source of electricity. Like the power grid line is the electrical line, right? Anyways, that's 电子。邮件. 邮件 is, in today's lingo, it will be regarded as snail mail, super slow mail. That's a physically transfer in space from A to B, right? Delivered by post office. So 邮件, this post in Chinese came from the land. So we use kind of a square cut in a quarter to mean field, farm field. That's a Chinese original farm field. And then their farm field is having the cross sign in the middle contained within it. When it's poking through on the top, that means coming from the farmland. And you can view that as a Chinese, as agrarian society, regard whatever they plant into the field, growing from the field. So there is this causal, temporal, sequential understanding of what you seed you plant or you care for the land, and then eventually you're going to get a return from the land. And so things coming from the field, that give you the sense of that's the origin or the source of things or the cause of things. So 邮, which sounds the same as this, then used as the source of things or the cause of things. The right side, we have, again, piece of land, just a circle, a piece of land. And then this is a person in submission posture. Actually, this is a person sitting on their heels. I don't know if you ever tried sitting on heels. It's not that easy to do, but that's a posture when you're sitting, you have to have your legs folded. You have to kneel down and then sit your butt touching your heels if possible. But in any case, it's in submission. You're not standing there. You're not ready to fight. You're giving up your, your chance to fight back, basically, unless you're trained, you can have a super fast responsive time. But otherwise, if you kneel down, sitting on your heels, that means you're even more like a recline, and you submit your power to fight to whoever is ruling over you. And that means the population in submission on that piece of land. So you have the land, the humans on the land, the population they are managing together. The right side means the regime in that region. Regional regime, it could be at different levels. I mean, in today's world, we have a municipal, state, federal levels of management, right? So ancient times too, they have a smaller town, bigger town, but this is about a piece of land with with a certain number of populations in submission to you, that you can tax them or you can order them, you can draft them into war to fight for you. So these are the submissive population living on there. So together it means, land under control, right? Land and people under control and coming from there. So I guess in ancient times, there were such systems that to manage, especially far-reaching land, you need to control that piece of land and people living over there. You have to, mail your orders over there, and also that land would be considered the source of resources, right? Either human or land could be regarded as resources from the perspective of the ruler. So pair that source thing as if it's a farm field, right? It's a source of food, of this source of land and people and their management together connected to form the concept of post. So you kind of have to have control over there. By establishing this mailing system, I guess that's the logical deductive of that. 剑, human figure on the left side, so that's ancient two-leg standing being, human figure, and the right side is a cow figure or ox. So ox is 3-stroke. I mean, if humans are 2-stroke, it's already kind of a simplest possible Chinese character. 2 strokes, right? 3 is not that far from this 2-stroke. That means, ox is important enough in the culture for this agrarian society because ox are major farm animals. We use their muscle power to plow through the field for us. So ox was important, and language creators abstract the shape of ox by having just coordinates, vertical line, horizontal line, this cross thing, and then add this stroke of upward turning stroke, meaning to mimic the horns of the ox. And this is a frontal view of an ox together, human and ox. That means cowboy, right? But okay, in Chinese, we use that to mean countable units. So units of countable things, that's kind of a sizable, because ox is a sizable farm animal. It's way bigger than dogs or chickens. So ox is a major property for farmers, right? So we're counting that as a parcel, as a piece, as if we're recognizing things of that scale, of that importance to you. So that's the unit of measurement of sizable things. Okay, so post parcel, today mail is piece of small things, but it gotta be important enough to deserve a snail mail these days, right? So 邮件 together, it means through the post office system that parsing in between. 电子邮件 simply is email. I don't know if you still remember at the beginning of email, we still have that e-mail, the connection, and eventually that dash get lost in the ether, and we just use email as everyday language because this then becomes a dominant way of communication. Instead of it totally replaced the mail without an e. Okay, I want to remind everybody it's back in 1998 that this You've Got Mail rom-com came out, and it's the early days, actually the early days of online dating, and fast forward 20 plus years later, that becomes the norm. And the email system or the computer equipment system described in this movie already like generations ago. The speed of technology changing in the past 20 years is amazing. And 电子邮件 is Chinese way to almost like naturally, like to me, as a language user, I don't even need to ask what that is. I know it means email just by looking at that, and it's that easy. And I'm not sure, like a beginning of email creation, if English speaking people, when they see E attached in front of mail, they get it as email. But in Chinese, it's explicit. We know it's electrical or electronic mail. All right, catching to the currency of thinking about what did I with Sophie? See you today.